Hello my friends, welcome back to Studio 520. Your coach Mr. Magnifico from here. Today we're going to talk about judging others. I'm going to tell you what I do for a living. It's a very dangerous job. It requires a lot of strength and patience. I teach young minds, yes. I teach children that are 10 and 11 years old. Ooh. If you think you can handle it, become a teacher and see what happens. See if you can manage 30 little heads that think differently. Okay, so that's not the story. Here's the story. So that was my identity. Today I asked one of my students to migrate from one desk to another. And in the process, there was his classmate next to him found a book, a practice book that I have lost. And I asked the class if they knew where it was. No one knew. And so the boy who found it said, "Mr. Magno, here's the practice book that you were looking for." And seconds later, the whole class said, "Well, he stole the book." My class was very quick to judge. They didn't know if this young man in fact stole the book from me, practice book. But they don't know if by accident I left it on his desk or maybe his practice book mixed with mine when I asked him to come to my desk so I can check his work. Who knows, my friend? Who knows? Sometimes we don't know the whole story. And we want to make a judgment right away without investigating, without thinking before we say anything. And that is very important. Here's the reason why. Because the young man, how do you think he felt? I don't think he had a pleasant feeling, my friends. And so I told the class, let me share a little story. It's a Bible story from this historical book. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a theologian, and that would be apparent. But here's the story. This woman comes running into Jesus, and this mob is chasing her. And Jesus says, "What is the matter? What is the problem, everyone?" So the men start saying things about the woman, and they're like, "She's a sinner, she is this," and they're using the worst adjectives to describe her. Jesus, in all his wisdom, I love wisdom, my friends. In all his wisdom, he said, "Okay, let's make a deal. He who has no sin, cast the first stone." Guess what? One by one, those people that made up the mob walked away because they all had sins. We all do. And they were chasing her because they felt righteous. We act that way many times, my friend. We need to stop that behavior for our lives to be better. What other people do is not our concern. What is our concern? How is our lives? How is our life? How is our lives? How are we doing with our lives? Are we progressing? Are we doing well? Why look at other people and not study the person in front of you when you're in front of the mirror? That's who we need to judge. What if you're not doing well? Look at numbers. Look at money. One of the things that help us understand how we're doing is money. It has a lot of power. Money has a lot of power in the sense that if we don't have it, we feel bad. If we have it, we feel good. But then we can, make mistakes anyways. So we need to study ourselves, not other people. And if people make mistakes, then we allow them to do their own mistakes because everyone has to go through their own motions. So I'm going to encourage you, like I encourage my class, that when they see events in which they can have an opinion, to hold their tongue and not say anything. because it is not our business to say who did the wrong thing or who spoke the wrong words or who didn't do the right thing, my friends. Let others live and live your life and focus on what you need to do. We need to make our lives better and we need to progress. And one way to progress is to focus on how we are doing. Maybe I don't know how to speak well, but learn how to speak well. Maybe you don't have a handle on your finances. Well, learn how to get a handle of your finances. Maybe I'm fighting all the time with my wife. Then learn how to get along well. Find ways to make your life better so we can stop looking at people around us. We don't have to be looking at people around us. We have to look at ourselves. And when that happens, if we become that person that is looking at how you do things, which is ourselves, then things will begin to change and you will be happier. And you will be happier because you're focused on the one person that you can change. You cannot change the world, or your cousin, or your wife, or your sister, or your daughter, or your friends, or your co-workers. You cannot change people. Only you can change yourself. Yes, only you. And that's where we begin. So your task, my friends, is every time you see something wrong in the world that you don't like, or you see someone saying the wrong thing, hold your tongue. Don't say anything and say, that person has the same essence that I have. And I'm going to focus on what I do, not what others do. And then go about your own business. Do that. Practice that every day. And you will see the power of feeling good about the actions that you take. So please, my friends, please listen carefully. Make sure you stop judging. Practice that every day. It's a beautiful thing, and the world becomes better for you and for others. But more than anything, you feel happier. Listen and learn and practice. Signing out, my friends, from Studio 520, your coach, Mr. Magnifico. Have a great day. Thank you for being my audience. I really appreciate you listening to these messages.